Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, sorry, Boyd. Thank you. Thank you, Boyd. We are going to start our ceremonies. So I'm John Abbott, Minister of Seniors. Even though I may not look the age, I fit the category, so there you go. But I certainly am honored to welcome you all here today for our 2025 Seniors of Distinction Awards. Excuse me. And I certainly want to welcome Premier John Hogan, Premier of this great and wonderful province, and who is joining us here today. So Premier, thank you for making yourself available to be here. Now, this year, I believe it's the first year we've ever had a Francophone recipient to receive a distinction award. Seeing this is an important milestone, I will be sharing some of my words with you in French at times throughout this event this morning, but please bear with me for those who may be translating. And I want to start by taking this opportunity to recognize our Francophone community and the vibrant contributions you make to the diversity of this great province of Newfoundland and Labrador. Je tiens tout d'abord à profiter de cette occasion pour saluer notre communauté francophone et votre contribution dynamique à la diversité de Terre-Neuve et Labrador. Before we officially begin, I would like to give the following land acknowledgement. We humbly recognize that the province of Newfoundland and Labrador has served as the ancestral homeland for numerous Indigenous communities, each with their unique contributions spanning over 9,000 years of history, including the Beothuk and the island of Newfoundland and Labrador. Today, this province is home to diverse populations of Indigenous and other people, and we also acknowledge with respect the diverse histories and cultures of the Mi'kmaq, Innu, and Inuit. Now, let's take a moment to go over some of the guidelines and housekeeping items here this morning. As you see, you have been assigned a table, and we ask that you please not switch tables. So no flirting or anything here today. Washrooms are located outside this room to your right, and we ask that award recipients leave the certificate stands on their table behind as they are reused each year for this event. For those who are in fundraising world, we're not going to auction them off, so I'm afraid they're ours to keep. And we ask that you please turn off your cell phones or at least set them to silent. Now, today's Seniors of Distinction Award ceremony will be live streamed, and this means that your family, friends, and community members can join in on today's special event from the comfort of their own homes, making it an inclusive and accessible experience for all. Now, an event like this takes a lot of organizing, and I would like to recognize the staff from my department that are here today to assist. Your hard work and dedication to this special event is very much appreciated, and thank you for pulling this off and pulling this together. Now, I'd also like to recognize members of the selection committee who helped to help select this year's recipients. So we have Joshua Carey, who's Vice Chair of the Provincial Advisory Council on Aging Seniors, Leo Bonnell, one of the 2024 Seniors of Distinction Award recipients over here, and Roger Scotland from the Department of Seniors. So thank you over here. Roger is over to my right. So thank you, folks, and I'll give you applause for that. And I want to thank, obviously, the American Innovation Exchange and staff for hosting us today. This year, we received a total of 22 nominations. Selecting recipients for this award is certainly a challenge. Every nomination that is submitted recognizes a senior or older adult who has made and continues to make immense positive impacts in their communities. And this does not go unnoticed. Our province is enriched with individuals of all generations who invest their time and resources into making a difference. Through volunteer work, community engagement, mentoring, and so much more, their passion and dedication has a monumental impact on communities here at home and abroad. Today's recipients possess these qualities, among many others. and it is our privilege today to honor and celebrate these 10 individuals whose contributions are inspiring. You have certainly set an example for all of us to follow. Les lauréats d'aujourd'hui possèdent ces qualités parmi tant d'autres. C'est un privilège pour nous honorer et de célébrer ces 10 personnes dont les contributions sont une source d'inspiration. Vous êtes sans aucun doute un exemple à suivre pour nous tous. Congratulations to each of this year's recipients. Now, I would like to invite the Premier to come forward to say a few words before proceeding with the award presentations. Premier.
Thank you, Minister Abbott, and good morning, everyone. Bonjour à tous. That's all the French you'll get out of me. Apologies. I worked on that all morning, so I hope that was at least half accurate. But it is fantastic to see you all here this morning at the 2025 Seniors of Distinction Awards. And this morning, we're coming together to celebrate 10 outstanding seniors in our beautiful province. And these individuals are being celebrated today for their significant contributions that they've made to their communities, the province, the country, and really the whole world. And I feel honored to be here presenting the 2025 Seniors of Distinction Awards. And this year feels particularly significant because it's the first time we've had the award ceremony with a standalone minister dedicated to the well-being of seniors and older adults in Newfoundland and Labrador. I want to thank Minister Abbott for being that first minister and for doing such a fantastic job over the last few months. We know that seniors and older adults contribute significantly to the social fabric of our province through their knowledge, experience, paid work, volunteer work, and active participation in all aspects of our province. And as a government, we continue to ensure that our programs, policies, and services are responsive to the needs of seniors, older adults, and their families. During the last few months as Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador, I've talked about seniors, and I've tried to demonstrate how our government is committed to seniors in this province. And I've spoke about why it's important to make sure we look after our seniors. I look around the room and these 10 individuals here today, and I always talk about how seniors have built our province. They've worked in rural communities and here in the city as well. They've raised families, they've volunteered, they've done everything from the ground up. And I think we owe it as a government and as a society to make sure we recognize that and do everything we can for seniors throughout our province to make sure that they continue to live at home in the communities that they built, make sure that they're happy and comfortable and that their government is there for them. But when I talk about that, I always just talk broadly, of course. And who are those seniors and what have they done other than you can just say built communities, worked in the communities, raised their families. And what an opportunity today to pick out 10 individuals in this province, and we can talk about what they specifically have done from coast to coast to coast for our province, for our communities, for their families. And I think this morning I will really take away what exactly seniors mean, what they've done, and how they form part of the fabric of this province. And I really couldn't be more proud this morning to be part of this presentation. And I want to thank the 10 recipients who individually deserve this recognition, but really represent all Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, because we know more than probably any other province in this country, we're there for each other in hard times. And we've faced it over the last little while. We faced forest fires, we faced some economic uncertainty, we faced all kinds of challenges. But probably no matter what happens, we're always there for each other. And I think our seniors and people that have come before us have set that example, and we continue to follow it. And that's why we're so proud as Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. So having said that, I would ask the recipients to come up one by one to the microphone here on my left, and I'll read some highlights from their biographies, and then they'll have the opportunity to speak. So the first recipient is Clement Benteau. How you doing? Clement has devoted much of his life to volunteer work and leadership roles in his community with a strong commitment to improving the quality of life for seniors. He was an active member of the Greater Lameline Development Association for 40 years and served as president for 9. He was an inshore fish harvester for 40 years, advocating for local fishers through the local Fishermen's Committee, and he served his community as a volunteer firefighter for 14 years. During the COVID-19 pandemic, he raised nearly $5,000 for the local community center by creating a virtual version of the long-running Point May community concert. He was also a recipient of the 75th anniversary of Confederation Medal. Congratulations, you're our first 2025 Senior of Distinction.
Picture over here. Where? Go on this side. Sure.
Sorry. Getting in, Mr. Admiral?
You good. Yep. Yep. You do that.
Do I have to say a few words or no? Go for it.
There's going to be a few.
That's fine.
Go over this side now.
Okay, well, we'll figure it out.
First of all, I'd like to thank my daughter Valerie for nominating me and for Newfoundland and Labrador for hosting such an event. Seniors is the backbone of the community. I mean, this is only the tip of the iceberg. We're only some, but there's a fine lot out there that don't get recognized that does just so much work as we do. So, thank you very much.
I feel like we're giving out the Oscars. This is great. Next is Priscilla Boutcher.
Priscilla.
Born in Corner Brook, Priscilla has dedicated most of her adult life to making improvements for her city and her region. She served more than 2 decades on Corner Brook City Council as a councillor, deputy mayor, and as Corner Brook's first female mayor. Priscilla has devoted her time to many different roles over the years as a member and president of the Great Humber Joint Council, an active member of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador, and the Corner Brook Winter Games Committee. She's a dedicated volunteer and has earned numerous awards and honors, including the Queen Elizabeth II Golden Jubilee Medal, the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal, christening the HMCS Corner Brook in Scotland, Corner Brook Citizen of the Year, and the 75th anniversary of Confederation Medal. Congratulations, Priscilla.
Good morning, everyone. Mr. Premier, special guests, I feel honored to be here today in recognition of my volunteer work. And I want to thank a few people. The first call I had was from Minister Abbott, John Abbott, telling me the good news, and I was overwhelmed by the call. And I want to thank the selection committee, Joss, Leo, and Roger. And I have a couple of my good friends here, Dr. Angela Robinson and Josephine Griffin couldn't be here. That's the ones who nominated me. I had some good letters of support from Father Edward Thierry and Father Edward Thierry and Dwayne Parsons from the Funeral Home in Corner Brook. And some of my guests here today have my grandson here, Chad Jones, and Emma Boyd, and I mentioned and Patricia Fury. And I want to thank all the many people I worked with over the years. It wouldn't be possible without the help of them, the different many groups. And I'm just happy to be blessed with good health, and I'm still volunteering. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I want to thank everybody here and congratulate the rest of the recipients. And that's about all I have to say.
Mireille Durand Thomas. Go here first. At the age of 20, Mireille arrived in Newfoundland and Labrador from France. She taught French at Memorial University until her retirement in 2005 and is recognized as a pioneer of Francophone culture and bilingualism in Newfoundland and Labrador. She was actively involved in the creation of the Association Francophone de Saint-Jean and also became involved with the Fédération de Francophones de Terre-Neuve et de Labrador. She contributed to the publication of Le Gabiteur, our province's first French-language newspaper, and was a driving force behind the construction of the Centre Scolaire de Communautaire des Grands Vents in St. John's. Her dedication and commitment to the Francophone community in our province is vast, earning her a number of awards throughout her lifetime, including the Roger Champagne Award, the Ordre des Palmes Académiques from the French government, and the Saint Pierre et Miquelon Medal, just to name a few. Congratulations. The floor is yours.
Okay, to the Honourable John Hogan, the Honourable John Abbott, thank you very much for this. And all my friends and guests, I greet you. Thank you for this award marking 60 years of my living in this province and very active in the community, starting at Memorial over 37 years ago. Merci pour cette récompense qui marque 60 ans de mon arrivée et installation dans cette province où j'ai fait ma vie et j'ai commencé à être active par l'Université Memorial où j'ai fait ma carrière. I was 20 years old when I arrived straight from Marseille, and I didn't speak a word of English. I let you imagine some of the funny situations I found myself in, and I learned English, or Newfoundland English, very quickly to say, and I call it survival. There were a lot of Francophones fluent or Anglophones fluent in French when I first arrived at Memorial, and eventually we established the Fédération des Francophones de Terre-Neuve et du Labrador, and that was about 50 years ago, and it still thrives. I was involved in this group. I found it helped me maintain my language and mostly my culture. And when I went to the West Coast in '65, and I met the people on the Port-au-Port Peninsula, and all the French communities, there are about 3 of them there, that was absolutely amazing. And I am still very, very pleased with that. There were a lot of Francophones around us, at the university especially, and eventually I raised my 3 children here in this province in Newfoundland, and I say they are very, very much at ease in both languages. One of them told me when I'm in a Francophone area, they are Francophones, but in Newfoundland, they are Newfoundlanders. I've done a lot of volunteer work, and I'm not ready to give up, so thank you for all this today. And as long as I can go on, I will keep on doing it. C'est une raison pour laquelle je reste moi-même, and I'm very proud of what I've done because it allows me to be myself. And I am very, very proud of everything I've done, and with the help that we have, and especially the French schools. That's our view for the future. Pour la communauté francophone, les écoles françaises, c'est notre avenir. Merci.
Next, we have two recipients who will be receiving this award together, Dennis and Roxann Gill. Who gets it? Dennis and Roxann have been married for 46 years and live in picturesque Pilley's Island. For over 4 decades, they've been advocating for accessibility and equity, not only for their son Danny, who has intellectual and physical disabilities, but also for others with disabilities throughout Newfoundland and Labrador. Both Dennis and Roxann have been involved in a variety of roles with Inclusion Canada, Newfoundland and Labrador for the past 7 years. Dennis has represented Newfoundland and Labrador as a director on the Board of Inclusion Canada. In 2020, Dennis and Roxann launched an initiative called Inclusion with Dignity, with the goal to create accommodating family washrooms equipped with powered adult change tables. Dennis and Roxann continue to educate and to bring about positive and diverse changes for persons with disabilities and enhance accessibility throughout our province. Congratulations.
Thank you. Premier Hogan, Minister Abbott, distinguished guests, fellow award recipients, ladies and gentlemen. What an honor it is for my wife Roxann and myself to be presented this morning with these prestigious awards. We are truly humbled and appreciative. Thank you to the department for sponsoring Seniors of Distinction Awards since 2009. And thank you to the selection committee this year, and a special gratitude to Brittany Molan, who is our nominator, and Brittany is my vice chair on the Buildings Accessibility Advisory Board. We're glad you could be here. As you can see from the bulletin, Roxann and I have been married for 46 years, and the other day a fellow said to me, you know, do you have any secret to how you've managed to stay together this long and so on? Well, very simple answer. The first day, she was right. The second day, she was right again. And the third day, I was wrong. That about sums it up. So we live in Pilley's Island, Green Bay, which is a very picturesque community. The present population is around 200, a little bit more in the summer, a little bit less in the winter. And we have lived there for more than 46 years. Back in the days of the pyrite mine, 1887 to 1908, and the Grenfell Hospital, which used to be in Labrador from 1911 to 1924, the population was about triple that. And Pilley's Island, you may or may not know, is the hometown of Newfoundland's first Rhodes Scholar, back in 1904, a guy by the name of Sidney Herbert, and it is the home of one of Newfoundland and Labrador's newest craft breweries, Bumblebee Bite Inn and Brewery. So the town paid me to say the last paragraph. So our son Danny, who's now age 45, as profound as the Premier noted, intellectual and physical disabilities and uncontrollable epilepsy since 3 months of age. His story is long and heart-wrenching. We love Danny dearly, as we do his younger sister Jenna, who we're very pleased could be with us today, and 2 retired nurses in our family, Angela and Valerie. For over 40 years, we have been strong and persistent advocates for Danny and for others with disabilities in our province. In our world, there are 2 types of advocacy. The first being a part of an organized group, and the second is being family proponents. Since 1956, the Newfoundland and Labrador Association for Community Living, renamed in 2021 to Inclusion Canada Newfoundland and Labrador, has achieved many significant milestones. Just 4 of these, going way back, one was in education, another in supported employment, another in deinstitutionalization, and the 4th, inclusion in the community. Still, much remains to be done, particularly in the area of legal capacity, to be in compliance with Article 12 of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. And today's provincial government is moving these extremely important matters forward. And we're very pleased with that. As a family, the other type of advocacy, we have rationally and reasonably advocated for Danny with respect to assistive equipment, medical needs, and his well-being, his living arrangements, home supports, accessibility, and accommodating family washrooms. So with the latter, we started in 2020 and began advertising, well, maybe advertising too, but advocating with the 4 regional health authorities. And after getting the message through to these people, the CEOs and others, they bought into it. And one by one, these washrooms started to be opened in, and we were advocating in hospitals simply because they're open 24/7. So with the cooperation of the RHAs and currently the Newfoundland Labrador Health Services, we've moved forward. So our vision in 2020 was 25 by 25, and we are on target for that. In closing, sincere commendations to the present provincial government for providing to eligible persons with disabilities beginning this month $1,200 in RDSP contributions annually and $400 per month as an income supplement without clawbacks. So some of the provinces, Alberta, I'll single them out, they are clawing back, but not Newfoundland and Labrador and not most of the others. So we're very pleased, and Minister Pike, I was part of the announcement with him just last year. Thank you very much.
So Dennis, when you were starting your speech, I thought maybe you should be working in the Department of History at MUN, and then I thought maybe the Department of Tourism at the government, but I think you closed it. I think you need to work in communications in the Premier's office. Thanks for that. Our next recipient is Linda Hickey. Linda has dedicated her time to keeping Newfoundland and Labrador's culture and heritage alive while forming deep community connections. Linda holds a variety of diverse roles, such as founder and chapter queen of the Royal Ruby Bells, president and founder of Creative Cultural Experiences, and president of the Bell Island Heritage Society and the Museum Association of Newfoundland and Labrador, as well as the performance director for Hamilton Sound. Through her many roles, Linda promotes education and awareness initiatives that highlight the culture and history of our province. And beyond volunteering, she is the Manager of Engagement and Development for Hospitality in Newfoundland and Labrador, and continues to strengthen the province's tourism sector. Unfortunately, Linda is unable to join us for today's ceremony, but we will ensure she receives her award. Congratulations, Linda. And next we have Janet Hounsell. Janet, who is originally from Prince Edward Island, began her career in Newfoundland and Labrador as a home economics teacher. Janet devoted 20 years to the Red Cross, organizing and supervising door-to-door canvassing, as well as taking on the role of emergency response team member for another 4 years. She is a dedicated volunteer for multiple organizations and an active member of her community through community cleanups and Crime Stoppers. In addition, Janet has been selflessly working with an international organization called Help a Village Effort, through which she has raised money to install 12 wells in small communities in rural India and a water reservoir for a small village in Nigeria. Congratulations, Janet.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I must say, when I received the phone call from Minister Abbott, I was pretty much in shock when he told me that I was one of the few chosen as Senior of Distinction Award for 2025. This left me feeling a sense of gratitude to everyone who has helped me over the years. Thank you to my nominators, Father Brophy and Denise, my family, my husband Austin's with me here this morning, friends, and supporters from my community of Glovertown and beyond. Volunteering has always been part of my life, and it always has been a rewarding experience. One volunteer group that stands out in my mind is my annual Walk for Water, organized by Help a Village Effort organization. Over the past 27 years, we have transferred over $50,000 to this organization, a little bit more increase since the brochure was printed. So that's this year's walk. Each of us here today must feel an inner pride for our accomplishments in helping others. This is why we say thank you to the organizers that made this gathering possible today. Thank you very much.
Next is Sheila Ann Lee. Sheila dedicated 30 years of being a primary school teacher before her sense of community pride pushed her to serve as mayor of Riverhead. Sheila has been a champion for recycling, working with the provincial government to begin a matching program where government matches funds raised by schools through the collection of recyclables. She was also a driving force behind establishing a recycling depot in Riverhead, and her work does not stop there. She served on numerous committees in her community and was a member of the local Legion branch's Ladies Auxiliary for over 50 years and served in various executive and volunteer positions with Branch 62, Royal Canadian Legion. Sheila has a passion for preserving history and has published books that share stories about her ancestors, has had murals painted, and has had storyboards installed that feature local war veterans. Sheila was a recipient of a Lifelong Environmentalist Award in 2021. She received from Newfoundland and Labrador Teachings Association Special Recognition Award for outstanding personal contribution and achievement in community service. Congratulations.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Of course, first of all, I'd like to thank my nominator, Verna. Thank you very much, Verna. Very humbled and honoured. Like to thank those who were on the selection committee, of course, and I'd like to thank our province for introducing this programme. I was thinking last night, I do a lot of thinking while I'm in bed. I was thinking to myself last night about volunteerism, and I thought to myself, you know, I can remember at the age of 5 being a volunteer. I used to go up and spend time with my great aunt, and she used to take me out to her little vegetable garden and get me to do some weeding. Then I thought about the times my mother got me to run around the community to do something for seniors and warned me not to take 5 cents, which we would never think of doing anyway. But I guess when I got serious about volunteering was in my adulthood, especially when I had my children raised. And as a volunteer, I think you get more satisfaction yourself from what you see happen than the people you're actually doing it for. I guess looking back now on a few things, like, I mean, we're a community of a little over 200 people in Riverhead, St. Mary's Bay. And I remember when I went on council, of course, see, people might come forward. It's getting harder all the time to go on council, but it's very hard to get the person that's going to take the mayor's job, right? So, of course, I was almost bribed into saying, because I always said I'll never be a mayor on council, but I was almost bribed into saying, you know, please. So I said, all right, I'll give it a try. But I said, if I get any disrespect or whatever, I can leave as fast as I came here. But I didn't get any disrespect. I got wonderful support in my community. And thanks to, I have to give a lot of credit to our government, because there's a lot of things you can't do unless you have the funds to do it. And I'll give you one example, a couple of examples, but one that stands out to me is that we, like most of Newfoundland and Labrador, we had very serious water problems. Now, we were lucky that we had artesian wells, which a lot of provinces would love to have, rural communities, but the water wasn't reliable because there was no system and it wasn't put in properly, and the poor people that lived in one area was without water more often than not. So anyway, if the two things I guess I can say that I suppose are my strengths, I don't know, was one, that I took the leadership part. Number 2, I was pretty good at writing proposals. And number 3, I didn't mind fighting for things. And over a 2-year period, we landed $1.6 million from both levels of government to really work on how to start from where we were to bring us to where we are now with a top-of-the-line water system. And I think we were one of the first rural communities to come off the boil order. So, I mean, that was an accomplishment. I think I heard the other day on the news there's still 170 little communities in Newfoundland that's on boil water. So, and to see the gratitude and the happiness in people's faces, like this lady here, her darling dad, who we were out without water one time for 3 weeks, and this poor man couldn't have a bath. You know, it was really sad. It was heartbreaking. Of course, I'm good at making sure that the message gets out. So I had videotape of the poor man in his dire straits, and I really, you know, blew it up big. And I declared a state of emergency in my community, you know. And on a Sunday afternoon, I get a call from my member, and then I get a call from the minister saying, "Now you relax, we're going to take care of it." But you know, $1.6 million in a little community of 220 people, I tell you, there's nothing to sneeze about, is it? You know? Then we had a school that I taught in, and I love my teaching. My primary children were my darlings, and their parents were so good to me. But we closed because of declining enrollment. That school was left vacant for I would say maybe 4 or 5 years. Of course, the heat was turned off and everything. And I fought for 2 years with the Archdiocese until I got him to turn over the school to us. And we got it for $1. And when we went into the school, my God, if you ever saw how run down it looked, because, I mean, there was no heat or anything on it, you can imagine, right? But again, thanks to the funding we could access, we were able to get good JCPs, good CEPs, and we transformed that building. If you ever go drive through my community, if you ever had, pop into the building, it was open, and see what we have there today. We have an amazing building, a beautiful recycling place for half the building, and the other half we have for our council, for our fire department, for the great big place, little mini gym for the trucks. It's unreal for a little community, really, what we have in that building, and it's just beautiful. So I can go on and on, but just to give you a couple of examples, you know, like. And I thought also last night, I said, if tomorrow in Riverhead, the people who volunteer in our different groups decided we're all walking out, we're finished, our community would totally collapse. Totally collapse. It's like I'm sure you can see in all our little communities, right? So I am very grateful, very thankful for this. I thank Mr. Abbott, of course, and his department. I'm looking forward, even though now I'm supposedly retired now. I had to give up my council because of health issues, but I'm still a very passionate person, you know, and I'm still good at going on open line and those kind of places. So I'm looking forward, our Premier, I'm looking forward now to see, I mean, the things that you seem like you're very passionate about seniors, and I'm really going to be watching, looking forward, and when I see something great, you're going to be hearing all about it, and when I see something that's an issue, you're going to be hearing all about it. Thank you very much.
I know. Thank you very much. I think you said you thought you were volunteering when you were pulling weeds as a 5-year-old. That's called chores, right? But I'm going to go home tonight and I'm going to ask my kids to volunteer to clean their rooms and see if that works, instead of telling them to do their chores. The next recipient is Maureen Mennie. Maureen moved to Newfoundland and Labrador from Scotland with her husband in 1968. As chair of the Corner Brook Regional Library Board, Maureen improved programs for the library's patrons for 8 years and remained a champion for the library after stepping down from her role as chair. Maureen is a dedicated volunteer for a number of organizations and has taken part in various events of remembrance on historical discussions concerning World War II at MUN's Grenfell campus, sharing her experience as a child during the war. Maureen and her husband Ian made a banner known as the Banner of the Braemar Royal Highland Society, displaying the Society's coat of arms and motto. This banner was so well received, it now hangs in Scotland in the Society's committee room and is used for official gatherings and events. Congratulations, Maureen.
There's one thing I've noticed this morning, having been in this province for a number of years, the premiers get younger and younger. I didn't realize I would be here with one who could be my grandson. And the name is Mennie, by the way, not Meanie. You never call a Scottish person Meanie.
I'm really getting it today, aren't I?
I'd like to thank my nominator, Katrina Basha, and the others who, in secret, got together and put me in the position I'm in today. I don't know if I should be thrilled or shaking with nerves. I'm profoundly honoured to be given this award, and I think there are my minor things that I have done are multiplied every day by hundreds of other seniors who deserve this more than I do. And I thank the government for bringing it to the light of day that volunteerism is necessary. I feel we, as speaking seniors, should be a voice for the voiceless, for other elderly people who can't speak for themselves, to change the attitudes from what is best for old people and concentrate more on what they actually should do, which is what we feel we require in old age. You'll see I have a strange accent. It comes from northeast Scotland, and I bet you're dying to know how I ended up here. It was one sentence and maybe the gravest mistake of my life. In 1968 in Aberdeen, my husband and I decided we would go to the wide open world and see a bit of it before we had to settle down to school for our daughters and all the family stuff. So we looked at the Times Educational Supplement, which advertises jobs all over the world, and they're usually short-term jobs, 2-year contracts. We chose 2 places. And in that particular, one of them was Memorial looking for a physics teacher. My husband was head of physics in his school, and along with his many other talents. And the other one was in West Africa. A doctor friend of ours from West Africa who had been traveling throughout the entire continent with his work in obstetrics said, "You cannot take your children to West Africa. They're far too young. A 3-year-old and a 2-month-old, they can't get vaccinations, and they're not immune from tropical diseases. They won't have any immunity." And then he uttered the sentence which was to change our lives forever. He said, "I went to a conference in St. John's, Newfoundland. You should really go there. The weather's great." I think of him in the West Coast in February with the 10th snowstorm of the week and curse him. I think you could call this probably Scotland's gain and Newfoundland's loss. Thank you for welcoming our family to the province, and thank you to all the work that's done to give out these awards. And I can't say that I've always enjoyed Newfoundland, but our 2-year contract has lasted for 57 years. Thank you.
And finally, we have Linda Oldford. Linda retired from the federal government in 2008 after 35 years of service. She was the first Public Service Alliance of Canada Director for Women in Newfoundland and Labrador, and served as the first female chairperson of the Provincial Advisory Council on Aging and Seniors. She is currently the first female president in 25 years of the Newfoundland and Labrador 50+ Federation. Linda has served on a large variety of committees and has devoted considerable time to organizations serving Burnside, Eastport, and Gander, as well as a number of organizations throughout our province. She is a recipient of the King Charles III Coronation Award, the Lifetime Commitment Impact Award, and the International Women's Day Gala, and the Royal Canadian Air Force 100th Anniversary Coin. Congratulations, Linda.
Thank you, Minister Hogan. Before I start, I wanted to say thank you very much from all the seniors in Newfoundland and Labrador for pushing through the shingles vaccination, that people don't have to pay for it anymore. Thank you very much. And I see Minister Pike over there,
Minister
too.
Pike advocated for that.
Okay,
So I gotta,
Minister Pike, I take it back. It was you.
Well, no, it was us.
Yes.
But he was a strong advocate for it.
I'm going to have a fight in a minute. I just know it. And Minister Abbott. Oh, my gracious. This is so wonderful. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm pretty excitable. So anyway, hang on. I got a few things to say. I am deeply humbled and grateful to receive this award and to be part of this celebration today. Firstly, I have some folks to thank. My nominator and friend, Judy Pardy, from Cartwright, Labrador. She and I have spent countless hours in many venues across many boardroom tables discussing ways of improving the lives of seniors in Newfoundland and Labrador. Also the people who have been there to support me, like my friend and first VP of the 50+ Federation Board, Amy Farrell. Amy is my right hand. My friend Alfie is here from Ottawa. Didn't expect her to be here. Wonderful to have you too. To the Awards Selection Committee. I've actually served on this committee, so I know how difficult it is to make the decisions. And last but not least, my family. My amazing daughter, Julie, is here with me today. I gotta tell you, they've put up with me over the years, giving countless hours to various causes, and some of which I even got them involved in, whether they wanted to or not. A sincere thank you to you all. For as long as I can remember, I have been an advocate, standing up for someone or something. I always felt fortunate to have had a great life, but all the while knowing that many others did not. And I felt a sincere passion and obligation to give back. During my 35 years with the federal government and through my elected union positions, I became deeply involved with the issue of violence against women and children and a 16-year pay equity struggle, just to name a few. After I retired in 2008, my focus shifted to seniors issues. I realized there were many inequities in this vulnerable group and felt that with my experience and energy, I could help. Being appointed as a member of the Provincial Advisory Board for Aging and Seniors, then eventually chairperson for 2 terms, my eyes were really opened to what was happening to seniors in our province, and it made me all the more committed to help. Also, anyone who knows me knows I'm not shy, and meeting with government officials does not bother me one bit. Right, Minister Abbott? Don't answer. The motto I am best known for is, if you're not going to help, get out of my way. It holds true. But another one that I have lived with over the years is, if you are not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. I find these days people would rather put their energy into complaining about why something is not working instead of working on solutions for change. As well, you know what? You're never too old to take on a new challenge. Ask me about that. Last September, at the age of 71, I was elected as president of the 50+ Federation NL, which means I, along with the board, support 7,000 seniors in 134 clubs in Newfoundland and Labrador. That's a lot of votes, you know. That's not in my speech, I just thought about it. About a week after this happened, I sat straight up in bed one night. My husband asked me if I'd had a bad dream. I said, what have I done? Well, that's not exactly what I said, but, I can't say that word right here. The enormity of what I had taken on really hit me. But, I'm still doing it a year later. I hope to continue my work and dedication. It's second nature to me, I am sure, as it is for the other recipients today. My great-grandfather, Captain Wilson Kettle of Port-aux-Basques, he lived to be 102 years old. So if I have inherited any of his genes, I hope to have many more years for many more accomplishments. Full disclosure, he also ended up in the Guinness World Book of Records for having left the most living descendants in the world at the time, about 600. A little bit too late for me now, but I just thought I'd mention that fact. Thanks for being here today, and thank you for listening.
So thanks, everyone, and I want to just finally once again join with all Newfoundlanders and Labradorians to proudly recognize all of our seniors of distinctions this year in 2025. I want to thank everyone, the award recipients, for their passion and dedication. I think it's very clear, your leaders in your communities and your province, and it's very inspiring to hear you all this morning. And I'm going to remember all your stories. And to be honest with you, my speech was a little bit longer, but it was a bit political, so I decided, I don't think it's appropriate to talk politics today, so I wish I had my time back. So I guess the lesson learned from here this morning. But as I said at the beginning, I do talk about how important it is to look after our seniors in this province and to continue to hear from them, and things like shingles. I mean, we did listen to groups like the 50 Plus Club about how it was important, and I think every government should be responsive to the needs of the people, and the people there know what they need. That's what this government is going to continue to do, to hear from individuals throughout the province, to be there for them and what they need and what they want. And that's the focus that I will continue to have as Premier. But hearing everyone's stories this morning, and people from Prince Edward Island and France, in Scotland, I mean, just amazing that we've welcomed you here, and you've contributed to Newfoundland and Labrador as well, whether you like it or not. We've welcomed you, and you've contributed greatly, and we appreciate you all for your hard work throughout. So enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you back here next year to recognize 10 more seniors. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Premier. And given some of the female seniors who presented tonight, there's a lot of action happening when they go to bed, obviously, at least thinking about what they're going to do when they're in bed or what they're going to do the next day. So thank you for sharing those intimate moments with us today. So I would like to also obviously thank everyone obviously being here today, and particularly family members who could make it to support their person of truly distinction in their families, and the special guests who also joined them. And those following live stream, hopefully you were able to get a sense of what this award means to those recipients, to their families, and us in government. Je tiens également à remercier tous les membres de la famille et les invités spéciaux qui ont pu se joindre à nous aujourd'hui, soit en personne, soit par diffusion en direct, pour célébrer les prix de distinction pour les années de 2025. This concludes the formal part of the event, and please remain seated to be served your lunch momentarily, and hopefully you will enjoy. And just one last note to the proceedings. During the luncheon, you may be asked to come out to take a photo, and if you could join us at that point, that would be great. So thank you very much, folks. Enjoy the rest of the day. Enjoy your rest of the summer, and we'll see you at the polls in the fall. Thank you very much.
Pardon me, everyone. So we're a little bit ahead of schedule. So while we're waiting a little bit for lunch, we'll do, as Minister Abbott mentioned, we'll do group shots later during dessert. But I would ask if we could do a group shot with all of the recipients, just recipients now, not your guests, and we'll get to the guest shots later. So I would invite the recipients to take your certificates and/or awards and just make your way out into the hall.